PCCD and OVS want to better inform and educate the field with the OVS Consolidated standards. Pennsylvania has long been considered a leader when it comes to these operational standards that are designed to maintain quality services and programming delivered by skilled advocates and staff. The standards are meant to be a guide to VSPs for best practices and excellent service delivery, provide minimum expectation for VSPs, and ensure uniformity of service delivery across the Commonwealth. The standards provide the minimum expectations of victim service delivery and ensure professionalism for the victim services field. PCCD and OVS has launched a series of recordings that will walk program staff through our standards. These will be short recordings, up to 30 minutes in length, posted on PCCD's YouTube channel. The OVS newsletter will announce new recordings as they are available. A prior recording called Introduction to PCCD Consolidated Standards is available on PCCD's YouTube channel. PCCD recommends listening to the introductory recording if you have not already done so. This PowerPoint presentation will be recorded and placed on our YouTube channel for subrecipients to review as needed. Subsequent PowerPoint presentations will be created for each OVS standard. In this recording, we will highlight the Cultural Responsiveness Standard adopted by the Victim Service Advisory Committee, VSAC, in November 2020. Programs who have PCCD as oversight entity will need to have a cultural responsiveness policy in place. Following this training, the program staff contact assigned to your grants can help answer individual questions about this standard in relation to your project. According to Law Insider, cultural responsiveness refers to the process by which people and systems respond respectfully and effectively to individuals of all cultures, languages, classes, races, ethnic backgrounds, disabilities, religions, genders, gender identities, sexual orientations, and other diversity factors in a manner that recognizes, affirms, and values the worth of individuals, families, and communities, and that protects and preserves the dignity of each. Cultural competence is about creating a pathway for access to services for all victims, ensuring a warm and welcoming environment to help build trust and rapport. In total, culturally competent agencies and their staff create a diverse and inclusive safe space for victims that promotes equalities, healing, restoration, and empowerment. Cultural responsiveness requires a strong commitment by all members of the organization, from the board to agency leadership to staff and volunteers. This starts with the mission, code of ethics, and value statements, along with policies and procedures that align with and promote cultural responsiveness. All staff need to be attuned to these statements and policies, and they must be reflected in services to crime victims. Cultural responsiveness requires constant examination to achieve excellence. The slides that follow list program requirements to meet a basic level of cultural responsiveness. Board of Directors and Executive Director play an integral role in cultural responsiveness. Their responsibilities include integrating cultural responsiveness into the agency's mission, vision, and value statement, routine evaluation and refinement of agency policies, and these reviews and efforts should be documented in board meeting minutes. In policy setting, encourage open communication, transparency, sincerity, and inclusivity. Evaluate and promote competency in strategic planning, work plans, and in recruitment, hiring, retention, and professional development of staff. Implementation of a periodic organizational assessment tool that measures cultural responsiveness and documents recommendations for improvements. Partner, collaborate, and forge memorandums of understanding, MOUs, with other organizations who share your agency's values and philosophy. Directors, managers, and supervisors share in many of the same responsibilities as the board. They too must examine policies and procedures that promote cultural responsiveness. Management must utilize staff, volunteer, and client feedback for the betterment of policies and practices. The VSP is also responsible to implement a policy and plan should a staff member or volunteer be subjected to derogatory remarks or behavior by their clients. In doing so, the policy shall provide the necessary supports. Staff and volunteers must be made aware of this policy and its content annually. Managers and supervisors seek out and coordinate relevant trainings of staff and volunteers. Management promotes professional development and advancement of staff. Management is also responsible to create a warm and welcoming environment and provide supports as needed. All staff share in the responsibilities of planning, development, and constant practice of improving cultural responsiveness with the Victim Service Program. Managers and administrators must be intentional about cultural responsiveness. Together, we can accurately represent each of our communities. Managers and administrators who are culturally responsive must be intentional and demonstrate culturally responsive communication in marketing and advertising services. This can be done by knowing your community, being able to identify and provide outreach to unserved and underserved populations, creating meaningful opportunities to engage with new populations and groups, improving access to services, reducing barriers, and bridging the gaps in service provision, coordinating services amongst partners, creating marketing and outreach materials that serve your community best, creating a safe space where trust, rapport occur naturally, outreach and making connections with media, faith-based organizations, and healthcare providers. As the face of the organization, the following recommendations are made to encourage a comfortable and safe environment for staff, volunteers, and clients. Leadership shall ensure that staff have a minimum of 1 hour of professional cultural diversity training annually. Volunteer training must include 1 hour of cultural responsiveness training annually. The 1 hour is part of the total sum of 10 hours required by PCCD. For VSPs that must adhere to PCAR or PCADV standards, these hours can be part of the sum of hours required by the funders. Leadership should ensure that staff have the opportunity to participate in the planning, development, and review to continue improving the cultural responsiveness of the workplace environment and practices. VSPs must document how this is being measured through meeting attendance and minutes. Agencies should use translation and interpretation services appropriately and must make sure that staff have easy access to various language access venues, including hotlines or chat lines. See the Language Access Standard. Leadership should develop and implement pre- and post-client surveys that assess the client's comfort in the way that they received information and determine if the client felt that the organization was sensitive to their cultural norms. As with all OBS standards, we encourage victim service programs to strive for excellence. In terms of cultural responsiveness, we encourage programs to provide opportunities for learning and development of the board, recruit and appoint board members that reflect cultural diversity to best represent your community, require, hire, and retain staff from diverse populations, incorporate aspects of cultural responsiveness into performance meetings and annual evaluations, encourage conversations, committee work, activities, and training that move the needle forward. Collaborate with partners and other community leaders to advance cultural responsiveness within your community. Additional excellence markers incorporate reviews at all levels of the organization to help identify the diversity of the community and any areas where improvement can be made. Continual training and quality assurance practices by all members of the VSP. Have personal policies that reflect and honor the staff diversity and allows flexibility to observe their cultural beliefs and practices. For example, allow staff time off to observe and participate in non-traditional holidays, events, and activities. Please email or call the program staff contact assigned to your grant or grants with any questions. Thank you.